Well, welcome back to another episode of 42nd Street Pete's Grindhouse with our Halloween extravaganza continues. Universal Pictures made a lot of good movies, and they made some not so good movies. There was one called The Werewolf of London, going back in the day. But then there was another one in 1946 called The She-Wolf of London, starring none other than June Lockhart. So, do we get to see a she-werewolf? Well, honestly, we don't. What this turns into is one of those weird whodunits, and you can probably figure out the plot, the minute it starts. June is Phyllis, the only remaining heir of a certain family who is under some kind of curse. And there's a woman living in the house with her daughter Carol, and she explains to Carol that they only live here at the bequest of whatever because she's the caretaker of the house. And basically, if Phyllis marries this young guy that she's seeing, Phyllis would have basically the right to take over the house and kick them out. So she keeps telling Phyllis about this curse and always gives her something to drink at night. And then when Phyllis wakes up, she finds muddy shoes and a nightgown that has grass stains and blood stains on her hands. Because a young boy was killed by some kind of bestial killer out there. And then there's this inspector who believes in werewolves and keeps mentioning werewolves until he's attacked. His throat is ripped open and he dies in the arms of one of the inspectors. Played by Dennis Huey, who was an inspector in a lot of the Sherlock Holmes Universal movies. So then Phyllis wakes up again and finds these bloody garden trowels under her bed with more muddy shoes and things like that. Well, somebody spots this woman coming out, and you might think it's Carol doing this because Carol sits down and has heart-to-heart talk. Phyllis decides that she is going to call the police and tell them exactly what's happening and exactly what's experiencing. Well, then the mother comes in with a glass of warm milk and tells her to drink all the warm milk. And as she drinks all the warm milk, she goes, "How do you feel now?" And she goes, "I'm sleepy." She goes, "That's good because I'm going to kill you." And then she recites the whole deal that basically she feels if she gets Phyllis out of the way, she will become matriarch of the house again. And unfortunately, one of the housekeeper, the maid, was outside the door and hears this and breaks up the murder attempt. And then the cops come up and grab her, and the whole plot is exposed. Sounds exciting? Well, it's not, and they were throwing this into a lot of the horror showcases in the 50s and 60s as packages with the Universal Monster movies. June Lockhart would go on to huge fame in TV series like Lassie and Lost in Space, and then become the bane of convention goers everywhere, where she showed up at sci-fi and horror conventions like Chiller, wearing latex gloves up to here, and signing memorabilia and basically pricing it on what she felt it would be worth with her signature. June was a piece of work, and I got a June story, because I had to pick June up at the airport one time in my red van, which was pretty beat up, and I don't even know why we were using this. But when I was driving back, she was breaking my balls about putting on a seatbelt. I back then didn't wear a seatbelt because one, I found it was restrictive, and two, if I did get in a crash, all the crap I had in the back of the truck would have crushed me to death anyway. So we're bringing her back to the airport to get her flight out, and Kevin from Chiller is with me sitting on a milk crate between the seats. And as soon as we get in the car, June goes, "Put on your seatbelt." I'm like, "Okay, June, for you I'll put on the seatbelt." "Well, it's for your own safety." "Okay, June, I'll put on the seatbelt." So as I'm pulling up to where we're supposed to let her off, I get cut off. And I hear June Lockhart go, "What a fucking asshole." And I turn around and I said, "Did I just hear Lassie's mom call somebody a fucking asshole?" And she gave me this smile and she goes, "Yeah, I like to curse." So I said, "You know something, June, you're all right in my book." So that's one of my June Lockhart stories, and I guess June is still with us. I haven't heard of her passing. So I guess she's still around doing something. Obviously not shows, but wherever you are, June, hope you're doing well. So that's our show for today. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll be back tomorrow with another film.